Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Michele I, and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stamping Up here in New South Wales, Australia. So if this is the first time you've been able to jump onto my live, please say hello and let me know where you're from. It's always great to welcome new people. I'm just finishing off a little bit of die cutting. Just got a couple of more things to do for today's card, and then we can get started. So if I seem to be a little bit distracted, please excuse me. I'm just doing quite a bit of die cutting here. Now, if you've never heard of Stamping Up or you've never seen their products and you like what you see today, please let me know. And if you're in Australia, I can send you out a catalogue of the new mini catalogue, which is out at the moment, which goes from January through to April, and the Sale-A-Bration Catalogue, which goes January and February. The Sale-A-Bration Catalogue is a special catalogue that we put out once a year, and what that is items that you can earn for free when you spend either $190 or $180. So always worthwhile to do that. So let me just pull up a couple of little visuals for you. Won't be 1 second where I just work out where they are. Okay, so here we go. Joining offer. So with our Sale-A-Bration, as I said, it is only for January and February. So with our Sale-A-Bration at the moment, if you are interested in joining Stamping Up, either as a demonstrator running it as a business or just as a hobby demonstrator to get a bit of a discount on your products, you've got two options for joining up. You can join up and you will get the glass mat and the silicone mat that can hold your small ink spots in, and I'll show you those in a moment, and a chamois, and that's worth a value of $106. So you can join up for $169 and get option 1 for free. Or you can, if you already have a glass mat, you can join up and have option 2 where you get $51 of product for free. So you can see that the option 1 is a very, very good value. If you want to know more about that, you can contact me. All my details are there, and you'll also find those details on my Facebook page as well. So this is only for January and February during Sale-A-Bration. Okay, so for those of you that are my customers and are purchasing from me throughout January, there is my host code. If you're planning to spend $250 or more, don't use the host code, because then you will get hostess rewards or host rewards for yourself to spend. But if your sales that you're wanting, a sale you're wanting to put through is less than $250, use my host code in January. There will be a new one in February, and I will send you out some free goodies at the end of the month. Okay, so I think that's about all I wanted. Oh, the other thing I wanted to share with you too was, let me just bring this up. There we go. If you need a copy, as I said before, of our mini catalogue or our Sale-A-Bration catalogue, let me know. If you are wanting a copy of our annual catalogue, I don't know whether I've got any left at the moment, but you can order them online through my Facebook, or not through my Facebook page, but through my shop. And my shop is at michellejutrissa.stampinup.net.au. Sorry, I just had to think there for a bit, and I'm thinking a little bit here on the run. So let me remove those and let's just go back up here to me. So anyway, welcome. Okay, I can see that maybe there's one person. Hi, Linny. Thank you for joining us. So I'm going to flip my camera over so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just sorting out some dies at the moment. So just let me flip this over. Here we go. So I am today going to be playing with the Jungle Pals. Now, this is two products. It's the Jungle Pals stamp set, and then you also have the Jungle Pals dies. Now, the stamp set you can get but not when you spend. Both these items are in the Sale-A-Bration Catalogue. Let's start with that one. The Jungle Pals you can get when you spend $90. The dies, you need to spend an extra $180 to get the dies. So you don't have to have the dies. The dies just give you all this added extra I've got here, which is all your leaves, everything to create your rainforest look. But you've also got these lovely animals that you can use with or without. Now, I'm without the dies, I'm saying. But I mean, the dies, there are also dies in there that will cut these out too, which really does make it worthwhile. Hi, Marie. How are you? Yes, you are here early. That's great. Minus 20 and going down again tonight. Oh, I saw somebody the other day on another YouTube channel, and I hadn't realized when you were saying you were at minus 50 or something like that last week, or someone was saying how cold that really is. And, you know, how unusual to have that days on end rather than just for a few hours. So, hey, guys, I'm really feeling for you. I'm quite enjoying summer now. But anyway, I'm also going to be using the Heartfelt Hellos, which is another Sale-A-Bration product. And again, you can order that when you spend $90. So I'm just using one of the sentiments, enjoy your day, out of that. So they're the items I'm using today. Besides the fact that I've got a mixture of different greens here, I'm just sorting all these out. Let me just pop my light on so we can actually see what we're doing. I hope that's better. So I've just got a little paint tray here, and I love to sort my dies out into their designs because then it makes it so much easier for me to pick them up and pull them out. So just bear with me a second while I do this. And that way, when it comes to putting this card together, it is going to be so much easier. So I'm just going to pop these flowers into here because I can just grab those. These I do have to sort out a little bit. So I've got some vines there. You can see there's wonderful dies that you can cut out with the dies from this die set. Lots of lovely foresty style dies, and I've cut them out in garden green. I just try to remember. Garden green. Whoops, that one doesn't go in there. Neither does that one. Parakeet Party, I think. That one doesn't go in there. That can go in there. I've got garden green. I've got, make it a lot easier if I just pull this out, then I don't have to guess what I'm trying to say. Okay, colours I'm using. Pecan Pie, garden green, lemon lime twist. No, I haven't got Parakeet Party. I've got granny apple green. I've got crushed curry and melon mumbo. So I want this to be quite a, hello Anne, how are you? I want this to be quite a fun, bright card. So let's hope, fingers crossed, that we can achieve that. Now I'm just going to pop all of those into there. So I've cut out lots of different greens because I want to mix all these greens up. I didn't want to just use one green. I just wanted to mix them all up. So I've just been doing a lot of die cutting for the last hour or so, getting rid of a lot of scraps. Now, any of these are left over from my card, I will pop them into a little cellophane bag and pop them in with my stamps and dies. And then that way they're cut and ready to go if I need those colours again. There we go. That's them. And then there's a branch that I've cut there as well. So my card base is in granny apple green. And what I have done, I've used, to get that piece of rubbish out of the road, I've used the beveled rectangles to cut out a card front for my card. So it's going to go on there. We're going to colour that with some blending. And then I've got a scrap here, and we're going to colour in a toucan. So I've got a couple of scraps for stamping my toucan, and I've already picked out some colours. So there's my mock-up there of my toucan. So I will be showing you how I've done that. That's just me testing my colours. And the colours I've used in my toucan are Poppy Parade, Parakeet Party, Azure Afternoon, Daffodil Delight, Pumpkin Pie, and Basic Black. Now, all of this I will put on my blog over the weekend sometime. You love all the greens, Linny? Yeah, they're fun, aren't they? So what I'm going to start to do, the only thing I haven't cut is a piece to go on the inside of my card as yet, but we'll get to that. I'll just pop all that to one side. So this is my beveled edge piece I've already pre-cut. And I've pulled out some stamp sets in. Now, I've got pecan pie there. I'm not quite sure yet how I'm going to use that, but I've just sort of thrown it in. I've got my granny apple green, and I've got my garden green. I've got blueberry bushel and azure afternoon. So they're the colours I'm looking at playing with. You never know, we could pull out something else. I've also got my memento black to stamp off my toucan, because when we're using blends, we need to use our memento. And I think that is about it. So let's get started on this. So what I want to do is I'm going to put a green base at the bottom. I'm going to start off with my granny apple green, just for the fact that if I don't cover anything up with the leaves, I don't have any white poking through, because I'm going to cover this completely. So I'm just going to add a little bit of ink up there, and I'm adding it up the top of my glass mat. Now this is the glass mat that you can get if you sign up to become a demonstrator. Popping it up the top, because I've got a fear that if I put it down the bottom, I'm going to put my hand straight into it. So I'm going to start off with by adding some green to the bottom of my panel here. Okay, so let's just add some green from that little puddle of green ink we've got there. I'm just going to brush a little bit off, and I'm going to start off my cardstock and come onto it, so we don't end up with a blotch of colour. And we're just going to do probably about the bottom third of this. I did a card very similar to this a little while back, and that's sort of, and it was one with the chooks on it. I can't remember what that stamp set was called. And I think I actually used a solid piece of granny apple green cardstock on the bottom, but this time I'm using the ink. And what I want to do is just bring this up, and I'm just going to blend this up a little bit. I want the colour to be a little bit stronger at the bottom, and I'm just using that ink. Now this is probably a good way to use your ink off your glass mat, because you tend to lose, these will soak up quite a bit of ink. So here you're only limiting yourself what you put on here. I can add more to it, but if I keep going to my stamp pad, I'm just going to load up the brush with ink. Okay. Now I think I've got enough on there. I am going to actually wipe this off, because I have got ink all around here, and I don't want to spread that ink any further than what I've already done. So I'm just going to take all of that away, and I'm just using my chamois. Now this glass mat does come with a thinner chamois, but I haven't got it wet at the moment, and I just thought I would just use this just to remove that. The only problem is now I don't have a chamois just to dry that off, but that will dry fairly quickly, I think. Okay, I'm going to come in with the garden green and just add a little bit of extra darker garden green around my edges. Now I'm going to use the same blending brush. I wouldn't normally do that. I would normally get another brush, but I like to wash my brushes in between use and to remove a lot of the excess ink that I possibly can. So I'm not too worried about it. Don't need too much ink, because all I'm wanting to do again is just bring in a little bit of a heavier tone around my edges. Now this is mainly, as I said before, just to cover up any areas of white that might end up being showing through the leaves that I put on there. So I'm just really don't want to cover up all that other granny apple green, just want to go around those edges just like that. So that's looking good. Happy with that. So let's remove this before I put my fingers into that. Does squeak, so I'm sorry about the squeaking. So let me just grab these dry edges and just make sure I've got all that off. I should get myself some more paper towel just to have here handy. Okay, I've already got green all over my fingers. That'll be about right. I'm going to pop that in there. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the blues. So I'm going to start off with my Azure Afternoon. Pop a little bit of that on there. And we're just going to repeat that process again, but this time doing the opposite side. So here I've got another blending brush. Now, if you haven't ever used the blending brushes before, I like to hold the brush handle in my hand, but my thumb and my first finger, I hold the brush head. That just gives me control over the brush and the amount of pressure that I'm putting on. So now I'm just going to go do the same thing. So I'm just adding color to this, and it's going to make ourselves a bit of a sky, and I'm going to blend that down into the green. So as you can see, a little bit of ink will go a long way because I've almost used up all of that blue. Yep, there you go. All that blue is all used. And I think that's enough for my sky. And now I'm going to do the same with my blueberry bushel. Just add a little bit of ink around my edges. So again, I'm just going to use the same brush, tap a bit of that off, and then just come around and just blend that in just around those edges there. So we really want these colours to pop. Just got to blend that very gently into the other blue and into that grass. Okay. Just add a little bit more up in this corner. And that's looking quite good. So let's just get rid of that brush and get rid of that excess ink. Hello, Deborah. How are you today? Thank you for joining us. Now, we'll give you a bit of a word of warning. Over the next 3 to 4 weeks, I may not be around to do Friday Lives. I will try to get the Friday Lives done. It may be slightly at a later time because I have got a few other things that I can't get out of that I need to do booked in for Fridays. So it will be just a matter of just checking whether I'm on that morning or not. Okay, so there's the base of our card. So that's going to eventually sit on that. And I think it's going to pop really well. I do have a little bit of designer series paper here sitting next to me in black and white that we may just pop underneath it just to lift it that little bit more, but we'll wait and see how this card progresses. We may not need that. So let's just start with this card. Okay, well, actually, let's start by colouring in our toucan, because I think until we sort of get our toucan coloured and die cut, then we can figure out where everything is going to sit. So I've got a little piece of scrap of basic white here. I've got my Memento ink, and I've already mounted up my toucan. So let's just bring him in and stamp him. Of course, you could have used a smaller piece of basic white, but I'm just giving myself plenty there to play with. And actually, while we've got that out, we might mount up our sentiment, which I've still got here in the box. And so when we die cut our toucan, we can die cut this one as well. So what I like to do is actually stamp my sentiment first onto my piece of cardstock, and then I can adjust my die around it if I've stamped crooked. if I die cut my die and then go to stamp, I may not get it stamped straight. Okay, I'm just making sure I've got really good coverage of black ink on here. Okay, so fingers crossed we've got this right. I'm just going to stamp that right there. Just hold it there for a few seconds. Just let that ink saturate into the paper. And I'm just going to do that one more time. I'm not 100% happy with that one. I have re-inked my ink pad, but being the old cloth style ink pad, they don't always saturate as well. So let's just stamp a second one so we can be sure. Now, of course, if you want this in a really good solid black, you could also stamp this in your Versamark. Yeah, it's not too bad. Stamp it in your Versamark and add your black embossing powder to get a really nice black shiny. But today I just wanted it in like a matte. Okay, so that's they're done. And now this. So let's bring in all my blends here. And let me find my little test bit so I can see what I did. And let's try to replicate what I've done here. So I'm going to start off with my light toucan, my light stamping blend. And this is my light Poppy Parade. And I'm going to do his beak. So I'm just going to go in a circular motion, just right up to the edge of the black ink. I'm not trying to go over it, because if you go over it, you could tend to get a bit of a bleed happening. And I'm wanting to get really good coverage. Now, having the glass underneath will allow this ink, because I'm saturating the paper, which is making the paper wet, and having the glass underneath means it's not drying out as quick. And you'll know it's saturated when the color has gone all the way through like that. And that will allow you easy blending. I like to go from light to dark. There are some people who go from dark to light, but I like my dark to light. So now I'm just coming in with my dark, and then I'm going to come back in with my light over the top and just blend that in. Now, I'm not using a flicking motion. You can use a flicking motion in this if you're wanting to blend colors in. I probably will use a little bit of a flicking motion a little bit later on, but at the moment I'm just using drawing lines. It's very easy. Now I'm just putting a little bit of red here, or Poppy Parade, and a little bit of Poppy Parade on his back tail feathers. Okay, because I had a little bit of a research of some of the images and some of the toucans, and I looked up cartoon toucans rather than a real toucan, because a real toucan was a little bit different to color, and I did have one around here somewhere that I started beforehand. Let me see if I can find it, where I was looking at a real toucan photo, and that's what I came up with it, but I just wasn't quite as happy with the color blends. I think the cartoon type image of a toucan is a lot better, considering it is a cartoon color image. Okay, so let me bring this one back in. Sorry, I threw the wrong one away. Now I'm going to grab my light pumpkin pie, and I'm using not the brush tip end. I'm just using the ballpoint end, and I'm just going to put down a little bit of a layer of light pumpkin pie there, and then I'm going to bring in my dark pumpkin pie. Whoops, the other tip. Now, I'm not so much worried about it going all the way through here. I have gone over my edge a little bit, but I also want to do this section here and colour that in. Now, I'm not going into the Poppy Parade section, because what will happen is it's like when you use a colour lifter, it will push the colour away. So it won't colour as well. So again, I'm going to come in with my dark and just add some dark around there. So I don't even know whether I think it's one of the reasons why I didn't like this one as much, because you can see some funny colour combination happening right there on his beak, and that was where the green was pushing the red that I had used away, so it causes a little bit. It can cause a little bit of a funny reaction, and that's just how blends work. So it just seems to be the lighter colour pushes the darker colour away. Okay, so now I want this one here is Daffodil Delight in my light, and I'm going to go all the way around his eyes and just blend that a little bit into the other, to the pumpkin pie. And then again, with my dark, I'm just going to come in and just add a little bit of dark in here, and just sort of very carefully blending some of those colours in. Now I'm going to come back again with my light pumpkin pie, because I just want to go under his eye a little bit more. And again, just sort of allowing those colours to blend. Now those colours will take a little while for it to settle down and to blend into each other. So that's those colours done and out of the road. So let me move them, and now I'm going to take my Parakeet Party in my light. And this time I'm just going to again colour in the rest of his beak. And actually his eye. Then I'm going to come back in with my dark one. Add a little bit of shadowing there. Now, I'm also going to come in with the light afternoon azure and add a few little flicks there. And then with the dark one. Now, these are little tick, sort of like you're doing like a tick like that, okay? Like you were marking something correct. And then I'm going to come back in with my light, because I still need to blend this in, but I'm going to tick backwards into that blue. But I don't want to mix those blues together, because the light parakeet will actually push that blue away. Okay, so let me just bring that up so you can have a look. That's where we're up to so far. Now, I just want to add a little bit of the darker green in around his eye. Maybe just a little bit more just there and in his beak. So the rest of him is coloured in black now. I've got a bit of a problem with my black at the moment, so let me just take this lid off, and I need to purchase a new one, I think. Just keeps on wanting to fly apart. Now I'm just going to colour the rest of him in the light basic black. Just trying to keep as best as I can inside those lines. And then I'm going to come back in with my dark and just add some highlights. And again with my light, and let's see if I can get this lid off without it coming off. That's great. Little images like this, you really doesn't take you long to do. You don't have to do too much detail, but there you go. There is my pecan completed. So now we've got him right. We don't need our inks anymore, so let's pop those over to one side and grab in our mini cut and emboss. So I hope everyone has been having a good week. I've had a very interesting week as far as doctor's appointments and things go, so that has been keeping me fairly busy. Someone who doesn't normally go to the doctor, I have been more times than I have been in the last 3-4 years. But anyway, that's okay. All is good. So we're just going to run that through. Put that over there. So there's that little toucan. I probably could have lifted him up just that little bit higher at the die, but that's okay. That still looks okay. It's going to pop him in there, and now we need to just cut our sentiment. So I'm going to use this one. And I've got a smaller beveled edged rectangle die to go on that. Just line that up on there. And we're just going to send that through there. And I think that's all the die cutting we do. All we need to do is our inside of our card. I'm just going to pop that there. Cut an insert piece. So let's get started on this. Yeah, everything's okay, Deborah. It's just you know, checkups, and because I'm a large person, it sort of has a lot of, you know, other issues that can cause. So it's really just making sure that my body is working the way it should be. Okay, I'm going to popping that on there. That's why I sort of brought in the pecan pie. I wasn't quite sure whether I needed to add some pecan pie there. I don't even know whether I'm going to be using that. So I'm just going to leave that off for a moment. But the vines I want, I'm just going to pop him off. I'll cut the vines in 2 different colours. I want to pop, now I probably could have put the adhesive sheets underneath this before I did them, but I generally like to have things with a little bit of lift. And the reason why I've done 2 different colour vines is I want to have probably them crossed over. Now I was sort of thinking of having that down there like that. So let's just have a little bit of a play. I mean, that could even go inside. Well, we could even stamp happy birthday. I've got happy birthday sentiment somewhere. We don't even need to put, because that was going to go there. And then some of these. I think I've die cut way more than what I need. That's okay. I think we will use that tree because I think it gives a bit of a break to all the green. I want one of these green pieces coming from behind the tree, but one could easily come. I'll take this one out. Okay, I think that's going to start building it up, and then that piece there could even go up the top up here. So we're going to add lots of flowers and things. Okay, let's start by gluing these pieces here down, because I think I am going to use that tree, but we're going to have to trim it. So I'm going to pop this one underneath. So let's just grab some glue. And I'm just going to add little bits of glue. Now, of course, you could even use a glue dot for this. Just add a glue dot to a couple of the leaves. Not using too much glue, and I can use a pair of tweezers. On there. And now with this one, now you've got to be careful with some of these, because this one here, not so much with the leaves. There's actually a cut inside the leaf, and you want to make sure you're not putting glue on those cuts, because I've just taken too much glue to the bottom there, because some of that has to be trimmed off. It'll just ooze through. I'll pop a little bit more glue just there. And I don't think I'm going to mind about having a little bit of that border on the side popping through. I don't think I'd mind that too much. So let me grab my paper snips. Now, of course, you could have layered this up and then die cut this all at the one time. But I'm just going to roughly cut around the same shaping. So it just follows those similar lines. Yeah, it's not too serious, Deborah. I've got to go for a scan in February, and it's going to take 3 hours. It's going to be a fun one. And costs a packet. It's hurting my hip pocket more than it's hurting me. Put it that way. Or my husband's hip pocket. But it has to be done. But it's nothing important. Like it's not something that's life-threatening or anything like that. It's just just checking up, making sure everything's where it is and everything's working. But it just means that, and I've got a few other things on too that are on at 1 o'clock, and it's going to be a case of, well, I might have to go live at 2 o'clock, or might even do a live on a Saturday. You just have to sort of leave it all up to, now let's just take that little bit more of an angle out. So then, whoops, I don't want too much glue there. Okay, so let's just let that dry for a second. And I'm going to put the toucan on last, I think, and let's just trim this one here away. Of course, if you used a straight edge, like a straight rectangle, you wouldn't have had all the shaping, but I really love the deckled edge dies. I think it just gives a beautiful shape. And the ink, when you blend it, I don't know whether you can see, but I love how the ink catches on the edges. Yeah, little things like that make me happy. Yeah, your health is more important. Sometimes we tend to forget that. Okay, so let's have a look at all our other dies we've got here. So now I've only cut 2 colours in the in these leaves, and they don't need to go straight along the bottom. We can sort of, might put the first layer on, or that one there on straighter, because that sort of hides a little bit of this, of the trunk, just to get rid of that solidness. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue along the edge. I'm not putting it up the higher up, because if I want to tuck things behind, I can. And I don't mind going over my edge a little bit with these leaves. This is what's going to give it the dimension. So this one here I might have sitting up just a little bit further, so it's not sitting right on the same edge. Could even, because this is just going to form a bit of a base, just have a look if we sat another one there. That can go over there, and then we could have, is that too much? Or are we starting to lose? Because I do want it to look full. I want it to look lush. I don't want a sparse looking forest, rainforest. I want it to look quite lush. So I think I am going to pop that one in there. Again, just putting a bit of glue on the bottom and tucking that right in there. It also can hang out. Okay, so there's the bottom. Now we could add, this is our third green coming in here. Could add a few of those in there, or like that. Let's add this one. Again, I'm just adding a bit of glue at the bottom, and I'm going to pop that one in there, and I'm going to sit that right in there. This one here is going to come in. Oops. Under there like that. Now I may even come back after I've finished and pop a couple of, because that's sort of sitting out, because we've got quite a bit happening in here. So it's sort of, I don't know whether you can see it. It's sitting out a little bit. So we may come back in here and add a couple of glue dots in there just to hold those down a little bit. Now toucan can sit there maybe, and work out where this might go, because I was thinking of popping that there. We have got a little toucan can even sit in there. Just got him sitting there at the moment. I've just got that sitting there. I don't want to have it going too far to the edge. Let's have a look at some of these other leaves. I want to have a couple of those. Okay, I think I like that there, and I think I'm liking him there. So I'm going to pop the sentiment up on some dimensionals just to give it some height. remove those for a sec, and then that can sit just underneath that branch. Sit there. Just see that brown branch there, which is good. So he can even come out and sit. Okay, let's pop him up. A couple of dimensionals. The one there. So has anybody else purchased this particular set, stamps and dies? Because this is the first time I've played with this. And I haven't played with any of the other animals. I just love the toucan. Toucan gets me. I love toucans. So we could add that one, and we could add have a look to see whether, because there was 2 different dies in each of these, whether they cut them all the same or whether, yep, they are different. So that one there could go in there, and that one could go in there. That's adding. Okay. You're fussy cutting the animals while I'm making the card. Okay, so you just don't have the dies. You've got the stamp set. Well, fussy cutting works just as well. Nothing wrong with fussy cutting. I find fussy cutting quite therapeutic. Don't mind a bit of fussy cutting. Now, let's have a look at these. Smaller leaves. So we could do this is a leaf in one of the other greens. And I'm going to add a melon mambo flower on top of that. As I said, I want to add quite a bit of vibrancy to this. I'm going to add crushed curry one. Yeah, these shaped leaves here would make good gum leaves. That's a good gum leaf shape as well. If you wanted to cut them in a add a little bit of just trying to think of the color I would add, bit of crumb cake to this color. It would make really good gum leaves. So put that there. Now, just wondering whether we might pop a few more of these. I think I've gone overboard in the amount that I've cut, but that's okay. Yep, I'm going to pop those in there. Just going to pop that underneath there like that. Now I don't know whether, do we need more pops of colour in this, or are we about up to where we need be? Let's have a quick look if we're going to pop this onto our, let's grab our card base. So that's going to sit on there. I don't think I need any black and white designer series paper. Done, no more? You reckon that's it? No, I reckon so too. And I don't even think I need to stick those down anymore. I think that all holds down nicely. I just wanted it to be a really nice, fun sort of card. And I'm not even going to put any more dimensionals underneath this. I'm going to sit this straight down on top. Just going to give that a little bit of a press down. Make sure that that's all stuck. Let's get rid of those, and I'm going to bring my paper trimmer in and get some basic white cardstock, and let's do the inside of our card. Okay, so basic white, here we go. Got a piece here. And I'm going to trim this down. How wide is this piece? That's 13. So it needs to be 14.4 by 10. Whoop. And I think what we're going to do is continue with a little bit more decorating in here. Might as well use up some of these bits we've got. Add one of these on the bottom. Might wait and see if I use any more of that one. Let's grab a couple of these and probably could have even brushed a bit more colour on here, but that's okay. I don't think I'm going to need that. Just leave that off for a second because we don't want to make this too full because this is going inside our card. And we're going to pop those there. No, I think that's it. I don't think we need to add any more than that. I think we've added all that we need to. And you know what? I'm not even going to trim off any of those leaves or anything. I think that can all just go. There comes a time when less is more, and it's sometimes working out where that point is. It is so easy to add too much. That's why I like to dry fit things before I glue things down, just to see what they're going to look like. And if I'm not really sure, I will walk away from it for a little while and then come back. And that just allows things to settle. I've done scrapbook pages where I've walked away for a week, just and then come back, different times and just tweaked it each time until I'm 100% certain that was happy. I was happy with my layout or something like that. Okay. So there we go. I may have to just trim the end of that one a little bit because it is just coming just over the top. It's a shame. That's all right. And there is a little bit of glue in there just to dry, so we'll just have to be careful. And then later on, I'll just put a go over it with my embossing buddy, just over where those glue bits were, because the multi-purpose glue will stay a bit tacky for a while. So there you go. There's my card for today. I will thank you, Deborah. Yep, and you'll see me Tuesday night. So I hope you've enjoyed this card. Enjoy your day. That can be used for anything. It could be a birthday card. It could be for anything. I've got a nephew. His birthday's not until December, so it may have to hang around until then before he gets it. But I'm sure he'll actually quite love this. But then I don't know. Might even send it to my nephew in England yet. So just to give him a bright day. But there you go. So there's a fun card using some products from your Sale-A-Bration catalogue. So I hope you are able to get hold of some of these yourself and have a go. And thank you very much for joining me today. Now, as I said before, if you are interested in joining Stamping Up and you don't have a demonstrator, by all means, get in touch with me. I'd love to hear from you. So take care. Have a lovely day. Have a nice weekend. And I'll catch up with you all on Tuesday night. Thanks. Bye for now.